So we had some very sad news out of Norway. A man armed with a bow and arrow had killed 5 people in the generally peaceful Nordic country. So the attack actually happened in a small town of Kongsberg. Kongsberg. It's a town of about 28,000 people in southeastern Norway. So this was a gigantic deal. The perpetrator has been apprehended, so is alive, and has been believed to have acted alone. So I don't really have any more details about that. I'm sure more details will come out later. So now the result of that, 5 people are dead, and the country is in absolute shock. So the death toll turns out to be worse of any one attack in Norway since 2011. So this is what they call well, not necessarily mass shooting, but mass killing. And so now in 2011, of course, that's when far-right extremist Anders Breivik killed 77 people. That's teenagers at a youth camp. So now 5 people dead in one attack. Serious problem in Norway. Now in America, of course, literally Tuesday. All right. In fact, in the first 5 months of 2021, 8,100 people in the United States were killed as a result of gun violence. That's 54 people a day. 5 people lose their lives in Norway as what they're calling a result of a terrorist attack is gigantic for this country. It's so disturbing to them that their police said that they had ordered officers nationwide to start carrying firearms. So now, wait, we're in America, obviously, and so the thought of police being unarmed is, wait, what? No, they're unarmed? Really? Generally, yes. Norwegian police are normally unarmed, but do have access to guns and rifles when necessary or when needed. And so, again, could you imagine living in a country where cops are unarmed? It's hard to imagine, but I think it's obviously because they don't need to be armed. Again, if 5 people being killed causes such a national emergency that now that's when they bring out their guns, it's a pretty good bet that you're living in a very safe country. Again, you compare that to the United States, disaster. So now GOP Representative Lauren Boebert tried to make a comparison, but she did it in, of course, the dumbest way possible. Here's what she tweeted. A man in Norway just killed a bunch of people with a bow and arrow. Norway has some of the strictest gun laws around, yet mass killings still occur. Liberals need to understand it is not the gun, it is the criminal who still commits the act. So, of course, look, that sets up a straw man argument. For one, I mean, again, big problems with their logic, all right? We realize, I mean, everybody realizes that, yes, people will sometimes do criminal things. No shit. Oh, no way. Oh, no, people will do criminal things. Oh, my God. Now, the thing is, and really the question is, okay, do we want to make it harder or easier as a society for people to do mass murder? I mean, yes, we all have established that sometimes this is going to happen. People are going to snap or have an issue or whatever, or have a grievance. Are we going to make it easier or harder for them to grab a weapon and kill a bunch of people? Now, that shouldn't be a difficult question, but the right wing tends to think, no, we should make it easier. And so understand that more guns do make it easier. Now, this isn't to say that, like, oh, we should ban all the guns. Nobody's saying that. What we're saying is that it's a statistical fact that guns make it easier to do mass murder. You know what else makes it easier to do mass murder? Bombs. This is why we don't allow people to own those or guided missiles. Okay? And look, even there are exceptions, of course, for collectors, but we generally don't allow people to own machine guns for the same reason. It's almost as if there are laws that are being written that restrict the most devastating weapons because of the fact that they're devastating. All right? And of course, guns are also pretty easy to use. It just makes sense, right? So now understand too that we have generally pretty lax laws for semi-automatic weapons like hunting rifles. We tend to think that those are fairly okay. Now, wait, well, you can still hurt people with those. Well, yeah, of course. You can still even hurt a lot of people with those. But it's a little bit more difficult to do. So there's a sliding scale here of effectiveness at killing things. And generally, of course, hunting rifles are used for the purpose of hunting game, deer, pheasant, birds, varmints, etc. And I think that's fine. I think that's fine. But like, as far as other things like a bow and arrow, right? It's a little bit difficult to go in a mass murder spree with a bow and arrow. Again, pretty impressive that this person killed 5 people. I mean, you've got to be pretty good with it. And so I think that makes it easier for this to be more of like a premeditated type of attack. And I think, in my opinion, again, we don't know the motive. We don't have that information yet. But it feels like in order to do something like that, you might have to have some sort of premeditation. That's what I think. I don't know generally how often stuff like this happens. Fairly rare. Now, with gun murders and suicides, since it is so easy for you to use a gun, it makes it easier to pick it up when you're, for example, not yourself mentally, when you're having like a mental issue, right? Like a crime of passion, for example. You don't think clear, you're not thinking straight, you're overwhelmed with emotion. Things like that do happen. And so when you have easier access to weapons, it makes it easier to kill someone else or yourself. And so, I mean, that's why we have higher amounts of gun murders and suicides per capita in this country than we do anywhere else. And so, again, easier to pick up a gun, point and shoot, bow and arrow, obviously more factors to consider here. A gun is just better at killing. It's more efficient. That's why we use guns in war instead of bows and arrows or knives and sticks. And so, unfortunately, Boebert or right-wingers don't understand that concept. Because why would she? Why would she? So she got some pushback from this. Now, Shannon Watts responded to her tweet by saying, there were a total of 25 murders in Norway in 2018. In America, 16,214 people were murdered in 2018, mostly with guns. Try again. Try again. So now, look, the common rebuttal to that is, oh yeah? Well, Norway has a smaller population. Okay, yes, that's factual. They have a population of 5 million people. The United States has a population of 330 million people. That said, compared to Norway, per capita, we still have an exceptionally large gun death rate. So, for example, the United States has a total of 12.121 gun-related deaths per 100,000 people, and a 4.46 gun homicide rate. So now you compare that to Norway, which has 1.75 gun-related deaths per 100,000 people, and a 0.1% homicide rate per year. So, wow. It could be that they're doing something right and we're doing something wrong. Could it be the fact that they have, yes, more strict gun laws, but also maybe you could add in other things. This is not just about the guns. It's also about the factors that drive violence, the factors that drive crime. For example, Norway has a better standard of living. They have a more generous welfare state. They have health care that is guaranteed for everyone, including mental health care. You know, the thing that Republicans tend to scream about every time there is a mass shooting, like, oh my God, mass shooting. Don't talk about the guns. Don't talk about anything except for mental health. Okay, let's talk about mental health. What are you going to do for mental health? We're going to do absolutely nothing. In fact, we're going to make it harder for you to go and get health care for mental health care. Well, then why are you talking about mental health care? Just because it's a distraction. And understand that's how it works with conservatives. But again, Norway does not have some of the social problems that we have They have higher wages. They have lower poverty levels in their country. And again, they do have guaranteed health care. And so, maybe we should do some of those things and try to alleviate poverty and help people get health care and things like that. But no, Republicans say, no, that'd be socialism. And here in America, we have freedom. Does Norway have freedom? I don't think so. Now, ridiculousness, of course. Here's the thing. You know what, actually, let's just go to some fun tweets. This is already depressing enough. All right. Just a couple of these. Responding to Lauren Boebert, Abandoned America says, do you have someone that tells you to say the stupid things you do, or do you just come up with them on your own? Another person, Jason the 13th, says, I wanted to say something to show you that Lauren Boebert is so dumb, but she beat me to it. Always bet on stupid. Always. And finally, the nicest boy in the website says, yes, the painful long Norwegian history of bow and arrow massacres. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.